This is about the 120-day rule for reporting an injury. So, rough estimate 120 days, it obviously gives you about 4 months, give or take some. So, from the date of your injury, or the date that you knew you were injured, because sometimes we have exposure cases where you don't realize you sustained an injury because of whatever's going on around you. But then when you became aware that, oh, this is causing this, that's the date of understanding that you do have a work injury. You have 120 days to report it to your employer. That might sound like a long time, but it is not. And it is a firm rule. So it does not matter what your injury is. It does not matter how severe it is. If you don't report it 120 days from the date of injury, it is time barred. You cannot go after workers' compensation. Now, some people might say, well, of course I would report it. Why would I not report it? You would be surprised when you're actually in the moment, when you actually sustain an injury at work, what then goes through your mind? People don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to lose their job. They think the injury isn't that bad, so they'll just keep on keeping on and see how it goes. The problem is you kind of just get caught up in just getting through it, getting through your day, trying to get some medical care on the side, taking a lot of Advil for a painkiller, just trying to get through work. And before you know it, weeks have passed. And by the time you go to report the injury, you might be past that 120-day mark. The injury might not seem severe at first, and then it keeps worsening and worsening. And then at some point, you can't work. You just can't even get up. You can't even go in anymore. But if you're at 121 days, it does not matter. If you really had a legitimate injury and you just sat on reporting it, you are barred. So 120 days, it may seem like a long time. It's really not. The other thing is, the longer you wait, the less likely you are to have your claim approved. And if you think about it this way, when a judge goes to look at a case and you're saying you have an injury that you cannot work, the judge is going to wonder why it took you so long to report the injury. Why did you keep working? Why didn't you at least report it and keep working? And of course, there's some understanding of not wanting to rock the boat and wanting to keep your job and job security and whatnot. Of course, we understand retaliation. But at the end of the day, you have to protect yourself that if this injury doesn't get better and you didn't report the injury, you're not protecting yourself. Because if you can't work and you don't have a work comp claim, you're out of luck. So it's really important to report the injury as soon as it happens, even if it feels like a sprain or strain, a little pull, something that you can shake off. We also see a lot of times people getting injured on a Thursday or a Friday and thinking, okay, the weekend is almost here. Let me work through it and I'll rest this weekend and then I'll be fresh on Monday. Now what happens is Monday comes around. The injury is severe enough that there's no recovery over the weekend because they actually need interventional medical treatment. But by the time Monday comes around and they're coming in and saying, I got hurt a few days ago, the employer's like, well, why didn't you report it? What were you doing this weekend? How do I know you didn't get hurt this weekend? So it's really important that your credibility isn't called into question. You need to report it as soon as possible, go through the proper procedures, do an incident report, go get medical treatment, and call an attorney.